The heart is made of 4 cavities, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. It pushes blood through chambers into vessels, up and down arteries and veins. Have we got a show for you? Blood flow, oxygen, cardiac muscle, capillaries, pulmonary circulation, cellular respiration, tricuspid valve, aorta. Blood from the body enters the right atrium through the vena cava, blood flow. Atrium contracts, blood flows through the valve, to the right ventricle, blood flow. Right ventricle contracts, blood flows through pulmonic valve, through pulmonic artery, to the lungs. Blood flows through tiny capillaries. Oxygen travels from tiny air sacs and lungs. It's time for blood flow.
CO2 goes into the tiny sacs. Oxygen goes into the blood instead. Now blood is purified and oxygenated and goes to the left atrium. Have we got a show for you? Blood flow, oxygen, cardiac muscle, capillaries, pulmonary circulation, cellular respiration, tricuspid valve, aorta. Pulmonary vein empties oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the left atrium. Left atrium contracts, blood flows through the mitral valve to the left ventricle, ventricle contracts. Blood leaves the heart, through the aortic valve, into the aorta, to the body. The heart goes lub-dub, 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 lub-dub. There's never, ever, 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 ever been an organ like the heart. It's time for blood flow.
To clarify what was just in the song, the flow of blood through the heart and lungs travels in 3 loops. The first loop is the pulmonary circuit, which involves the right side of the heart and the lungs. The blood enters the right atrium through the inferior and superior vena cava and empties oxygen-poor blood from the body into the chamber. The atrium contracts and blood flows into the right ventricle through the open tricuspid valve. When the ventricle is full, the valve shuts to prevent blood from flowing in the opposite direction. The right ventricle contracts and the blood leaves the heart through the pulmonic valve into the pulmonic artery and to the lungs. The second loop is the pulmonary circulation loop. The blood travels from the pulmonic artery into tiny capillary vessels. Oxygen travels from tiny air sacs in the lungs into the bloodstream by diffusing through the walls of the capillaries. Carbon dioxide flows in the other direction through the walls of the capillaries and into the tiny sacs in the lungs. The CO2 leaves the body when you exhale as waste. The blood is now purified and oxygenated and travels back to the left side of the heart to partake in the systemic circuit. The third loop, the systemic circuit, involves the left side of the heart and the rest of the body. The pulmonic vein empties the oxygen-rich blood from the lungs into the left atrium, which then contracts. The blood then flows into the left ventricle through the mitral valve. The left ventricle then contracts and the blood leaves the heart through the aortic valve into the aorta and travels to the rest of the body. The blood travels through the body, supplying the muscles and organs with oxygen and nutrients, and picking up CO2 and other waste. After flowing through the entire body, the blood returns to the right side of the heart to repeat the process again.
Now it's time to learn about the heart with Ricky and Gabby, the part of the show where Ricky and Gabby come out and sing a silly song. Our curtain opens as Ricky, having just finished her morning bath, is grabbing for her heart. Having no success, Ricky cries out,
Where is my heartbeat? Oh, where is my heartbeat? Oh, where, 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 oh, where is my heartbeat.
Having heard her cry, Gabby enters the scene. Shocked and slightly embarrassed at the sight of Ricky in a towel, Gabby regains her composure and reports, I think you're having a heart attack!
But I don't even know how my heart works.
Well, Ricky, let me teach you. A heart attack occurs when a slow buildup of cholesterol and other cells create a plaque, which clogs arteries. Blood platelets stick to the plaque and create a blood clot. If your blood is not able to clear the artery fast enough, then blood will not be able to pass through, and cellular respiration cannot happen. The arteries quickly expand and contract due to the pressure from the heart, which can cause the plaque to rupture. If this happens, the rest of the body downstream from the clot cannot get oxygen, and the person can die.
In there is cholesterol. I'm having a heart attack. I hope I don't die.
Having heard his morbid proclamation, Gabby Asparagus enters the scene, shocked and slightly embarrassed at the sight of Ricky in a towel. Gabby regains her composure and comments, You're not having a heart attack, maybe it's a ischemic stroke! A stroke is a malfunction of the brain due to lack of blood and oxygen. Because arteries near the brain are much smaller than those in the rest of the body, they can become clogged much more easily. The carotid artery carries blood from the heart to the brain, but occasionally, when the artery is too narrow, or if there's a blood clot, a person can have an ischemic stroke. The brain cannot receive enough oxygen to continue its duties, and cells begin to die, as they do in a heart attack. This can cause death. Ricky is taken aback. The thought had never occurred to her. An ischemic stroke? What would this mean? What would become of her? What would become of her brain? Ricky wonders.
No oxygen for my brain. My brain cells are dying. No oxygen, my brain. No oxygen, my brain. For my little brain.
Having heard her wonderings, Gabby the tomato enters the scene, shocked and slightly embarrassed at sight of Ricky in the towel. Gabby regains her composure and confesses, Ricky, it could also be a hemorrhagic stroke. This happens when high blood pressure or blood defect in the artery leads to bleeding in the brain. This happens when a blood vessel bursts. The blood can damage the brain tissue and or the broken artery and lead to the death of cells and impending death. Ricky, that old brain of yours. Well, you never use it. You don't really need it. So, well, I'm sorry. I didn't know. But I gave it to the peach, because he's got thoughts. Feeling a deep sense of loss, Ricky stumbles back and laments.
Not fair for my heart. Not fair, my poor brain. Not fair, no brain, not fair, nowhere, no brain, no, not fair, not fair, not fair. My little heart.
Having heard his lament, the peach enters the scene. Himself in a towel, both Ricky and the peach are shocked and slightly embarrassed at the sight of each other, but recognizing Ricky's generosity, the peach is thankful. I think you're having a pulmonary embolism. A pulmonary embolism is a blockage of the main artery leading to the lungs. The blockage usually comes from a blood clot in the legs that breaks loose and travels to the lungs. The blood clot forms in veins deep in the muscles, so it is hard to locate the clot. Occasionally, the artery can become blocked by tumors, air bubbles, or fat. When artery is blocked, blood cannot travel in or out of the lungs, which causes a deficiency in oxygen, leading to a stop in blood flow and death. Yes, good has been done here. The peach exits the scene. Ricky smiles, but still feeling a rush of emotions for all the new information she has learned, she calls out,
Take care of my heart. Take care, oh my heart. Take care, do not take care, nice heart, no fear, no, take care of my heart.
The end.